love this fancy podium. It's not the fanciest podium you've ever seen. Everybody, if you guys can just come on inside, we're going to get started. Dell, we're going to get started. You guys can, you guys can stay over there. How's everybody doing? Good. You guys excited to be here? I'm excited. We're doing a grand opening, a re-grand opening. We didn't know we were literally going to have a grand opening in the side of our building. Wasn't part of the plan. We're really excited to have everybody here. Dell has been asking for us to do some upgrades at the training center. He's been asking every year for 5 years, and all he wanted was carpet. He's like, "Chris, can I get some new carpet?" He got the bonus plan. I thought he was going to strip naked and streak from here to Weber. I'm pretty excited. It looks pretty good, right? All right, I want to thank everybody for coming and taking some time out of your busy schedules to be here with us. It's our goal tonight to really celebrate 20 years in business at the Kegel Training Center and to share a little bit with you of our vision for the future of coaching. A little bit of an agenda. I'm just going to talk for a few minutes. This is really about the training center tonight. After I get done speaking, we've got a photo slideshow to share a little bit of the training center story. That's just 5-6 minutes, and then Dell's going to take over and share some words with you about his story and the training center team. And then we've got some really cool new products that we want to share with you guys. So we'll be talking to you a little bit about that. And we should be wrapping up with kind of the presentation portion of the evening by about 7:15, and we'll be having some bowling and some demonstrations. So thanks again, everybody, for being here. You know, for those that don't know me, my name's Chris Chartrand. I'm the CEO of Kegel. Been here about 70 years. 70 years. I look good. 70 years. About 17 years, and I started back when Kegel launched its own brand, a playing machine. It's been a really exciting ride for me. So, I love working for this company. And when I first started, I was fresh out of college, very eager to make my mark. I remember I made a suggestion to John Davis. I said, "John, you know what I think we need to do? I think we need to do some surveys." And he said, "Surveys? We don't do surveys. Newspapers do surveys. Chris, our customers don't know what they want because they don't know what's possible." And it was then that I was really introduced to the vision of John Davis and the imagination that the man had. And it was really that imagination that really led to the creation of the Kegel Training Center. I'm not sure if many of you know, but the original concept for the training center was called Herbie's Bowling Center in the Sky. He was a hippie. Herbie's Bowling, there is no Herbie, I've asked. There's no Herbie. But this vision was a vision of the perfect bowling center. This bowling center would have equipment that ran perfectly. Everything was an adjustment. Nothing would ever break. Bowlers didn't complain about lane conditions. Amazing. And coaches would help bowlers fall in love with the sport of bowling. If you think back 20 years ago, competitive bowling was declining, and John believed that bowlers needed a place where bowlers could access the best technology and the best coaches. And even though it was tucked away in sleepy Sebring, Florida, that if we did that, it would make a huge positive impact on the sport of bowling. And I think it's safe to say it was right. Don't you think? So, the Kegel Training Center influenced a wave of new training facilities around the world. In places like Texas, at the ITRC, at Detroit, where's Lori? At TurboTech. There's also international training facilities for bowlers in Hong Kong, Finland, Holland, Singapore, and others. Many more coaches also operate similar businesses in bowling centers around the world. All wonderful places with incredible coaches helping people play the sport of bowling. You know, our core business is lane maintenance, I think most of you guys know, and it's important to know what an important role the training center plays in our lane maintenance business. We're not developing products in a facility that's completely disconnected from the game. The training center provides a critical link between the products we develop and the sport itself. My desk is over here near the skybox. And not a lot of people know this, but I frequently leave my desk and I watch people giving lessons. And my favorite part is when I get to see students who are trying something new that they're learning from a coach. And there's always that moment where they get it right, and the excitement that they have and the excitement that the coach has when they share that moment together is really something pretty special to watch. And it's really a wonderful reminder for me and all the employees at Kegel who we really work for. This really has always been one of the best parts of working at Kegel, and specifically for a man like John Davis. It's always felt like we were a part of something bigger, working for a purpose that we all deeply cared about, which was to help the sport of bowling that we all love. I think you guys know, unfortunately, we lost John a few years back, but thankfully ownership passed to his business partners, Jonathan and Michelle Mitchell, who luckily share the same values and remain committed to carrying forward John's vision. And I think this is evident in what the new training center looks like, don't you think? Unfortunately, they're traveling out of the country, or else they would have loved to be here to share some words with you guys. In addition to ownership support, the training center wouldn't be where it is today without the amazing coaches who've taught here over the years. Guys like Richard Shockley, Lou Marquez, Bill Zubin, Steve Padilla, and many others laid the foundation that our current success is built upon. And I couldn't be more proud of our current Kegel Training Center team. A few weeks back, Bowler's Journal released its list of top 100 coaches. Right, Barb? And if I looked at the magazine, I counted how many people on that list work at Kegel. And on that list, 10 out of the top 100 work here at Kegel. I mean, think about that. 10% of the world's best coaches live here in Lake Wales, Florida. It's amazing. When I think about the Kegel Training Center team, it reminds me of a famous Steve Jobs quote. He said, "Your work is going to fill a large portion of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And if you haven't found that yet, keep looking." Del called me in his office a few months ago, and he says, "Chris, I've got to tell you something." He says, "I probably shouldn't be saying this to my boss, but I love what I do so much, I'd do it for free." And I said, "Deal." Right? That's what we agree, right? All right. But seriously, that love for their work is evident in Del and Rick and Ruben and Randy and Brent, and that's been the fuel for 20 years of success in this place. Thank you guys for all your work. Enough of me. Now we're going to share with you guys a video, so a few minutes, and then I'll be up after that. Thanks a lot. Kind of tough following Chartrand. He's really good, right? Well, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my journey and then the future of coaching. So, but first, I know they recognize I'd like my staff and the coaches to please stand up. You recognize. Okay. You know, I meant every word I said to Chris. I come to work every day in a new training facility. Wow, how many companies are reinvesting into their facility and of all things coaching right now? I don't really ever have a bad day at work unless, you know, Brent and I go toe to toe, and that happens less frequently. And the energy that's in here every day is really incredible. I hope all of you get a chance to be blessed enough to come to work the same way I do every day. The great thing about the staff that works here is they come to work every day and they put their heart and soul into these kids and to the students. But they also challenge each other to get better. And when I look at, I've been a gold level coach for over 20 years, when I look at how I used to coach prior to coming here and then how I coach now, it's a completely different Delmore. The being blessed to be in an environment where everybody's challenging you to get better and asking John's favorite question, are you curious? Every day we come to work, we're curious. We don't take this for granted, and we're trying to get better every day. So, and we try to pass that on. So, a couple of things that I want you to understand. I want you to picture a world where a kid who was passionate about bowling started bowling, and the only resource really was to copy the best player in the bowling center. To take the best player in the bowling center, his name was John Reithold in Lantana Lanes, and he had 198 average. He shot 3 700s in his career. He bowled 5 leagues, and we all wanted to be like him. So I threw a full roller. I watched him bowl every day when I came in, when I was trying to get away from school. And a couple of tips from a junior coach here and there. And that's how you learn how to bowl. And then, of course, we got turned on to the PBA Tour, and you try to emulate what you saw. You listen to Bo Burton's words. And I can imagine that the kids my age back then, that's what we had. Right? Well, I can tell you that my career could have been much longer. I'm a casualty. I'm a casualty of doing something, and I thought I was doing a certain thing, and I really wasn't. I'm a casualty of bad techniques. Now, I was a good player. I won a couple times on the PBA Tour. There's not a lot of people that can say that. But at the time that I finally got really good at my absolute peak, I had injuries that I couldn't recover from because of bad technique. And you don't think that haunts me every day. And I realized a long time ago that's what drove me to coaching and drove me to be curious. And how do we get better? And what a better place to come from the ball business. Had some great experiences working for AMF and track. But I was still coaching back then, even when I was in the ball business. To have the journey, to have an opportunity to come to the Kegel Training Center every day and work in a place like this. In 10 years, I'm celebrating my 10th anniversary this month. I get emotional when I talk about this place. When I look back at where I was and what coaching used to be, and to think that a guy named John Davis said, we're going to build a training center no one's ever done it before, and we're going to do it in Sebring, Florida. My wife Dawn actually had a lesson with Richard Shockley, and I can't remember what year it was before they moved up here. And I watched the lesson, and there's no doubt that he was nervous. And I learned a couple things. One, I thought it was the coolest thing that there was a guy that could actually make a living in a place that there were 8 lanes that were just for coaching. I thought that was the coolest thing. And the second thing was, she was a good bowler, and he was trying to coach a good bowler, and you could see that he was challenged to try to find something to get her to work on. And I thought that was really interesting at the time, that, you know, where is this coaching going? And you could see that he was searching for answers during that experience. So now circa, I hook up with Chartrand. We were doing seminars when I was at track and Kegel, and it just so happened there was a job opening, and they wanted to hire me, and I ended up here. And I got to live with John for 3 months. And I would come home every day from work, no kidding. My plate, there would be food on the stove. I would make my plate, and I would walk upstairs, and I would sit in John and Linda's room, and he would say, "Tell me about your day." Now, how many owners and bosses have you ever heard that from? That's incredible. And we would just talk about bowling, and all the employees here that have ever worked with John, you get Johnisms, right? And and I would ask questions. This is a guy that built the first training center in the world. Where do you want this to go? So finally one day, he said, "You're a pain in the ass. Why do you ask so many freaking questions? Del, you don't always have to know the answers. But I will tell you this. I trust you. I'm giving you the keys. Take care of bowling. Take care of Kegel. And if you follow those 2 rules, you can't go wrong." So ever since then, this has been a heck of a journey. Some of the things, you've already heard Chris talk about top 100 coaches, the former coaches. We now have 3 former students of the training center that are college coaches that have started brand new programs in college that all bowled here. 2 for Weber and 1 for Kegel. Team USA members. This year, I believe the number is 70% of the winners at Team Masters and Junior Gold train here at the Kegel Training Center. The experience of Weber. I thought college bowling, when Bill Heath came knocking, was like, well, first I thought Weber was in Orlando. Like, how the heck are we going to pull that off? But I really thought it was, okay, we got a bunch of kids to come here. We train them, we pick the top 8, we go to the tournament, we got them lined up with ball reaction. If our score wins, we win. This should be pretty easy, right? Woo! There's a lot more to it than that. And I have to tell you, a lot of times the kids teach the coaches. The influence of Weber cannot be understated in this building. The electricity the kids bring, the ideas they bring, the challenges they bring, the parents that support the program and support Kegel. It took the enthusiasm and the energy to a new level. The relationship we have with the school, it really is incredible. And when you look at not just the championships that the team has won, but what the kids have done after graduation. John only asked me one thing about the team. Are we making good people? That's all he ever asked me. How are we doing? What are they going to be like when they graduate from school? And I think somewhere he's looking down, especially Marcelo and Javi and Bonocci and Katie Thornton and Ashley Galante. He's looking down and saying, what a great job the program has done. Give him a hand. So you look at where we were. The only feedback you got was somebody standing behind you. And you had to trust that. And chances are he didn't even know what he was looking at. The 5 godfathers of coaching couldn't even get along. They didn't even like each other. And if I have a lesson with one of the 5 and I go have a lesson, I would be totally confused. And they were very committed to what they believed in. Because there was no verification at the time. We just were interpreting what we saw. And the first time I bought video, paid $2,500 for this big camera and a 19-inch television, VHS. And I went, okay, I videoed my game and I'm on tour, great. And then we played it, and I'm like, okay, now what? I see a lot of strange stuff, how do I fix it? Didn't know how to fix it. There wasn't many people that did. Now you circa to what we've been doing in the Kegel Training Center now for up to 20 years with video. We have the largest video bank that I know of in the world of modeling. We understand cause and effect at a level that I don't think bowling has ever understood it. We can make people better faster. We can get to the root cause of why they're struggling and focus in on that, and they can see results faster.
And I wish I was 16 years old again. I really do. I would have certainly had a lot less stress and a lot less heartache and emotional swings, huh, honey?
Agreed.
Because I was, in essence, I was searching for the answer. So you see how far we've come so far? But now I'm going to introduce you to the future. And boy, does it look bright for coaching. You know I'm going to mess this up. First coaching tool I want to introduce you to is called Specto. I know some of you have heard about it. It's a new tracking system for bowling centers and coaches, both. We've already, first it's a one sensor. So as some of you are familiar, CATS has been affiliated and with Kegel now close to probably 17, 18 years. It's been a very effective tool. This is the tool that's going to replace it. It's like CATS on steroid. So first, as you can see on the lanes, there's all kinds of sensors. Specto is one sensor. In essence, you have a laser that's traveling really fast at a very high rate of speed, and it's taking measurements 360 degrees in a circle. And it's traveling so fast that it literally is like having 120 sensors on every lane. So it's not guesstimating where the ball is, it's actually giving you the location of the ball in real time. Okay? This is for bowlers and coaches. Specto has two applications. It's a mobile app for bowlers. Can you imagine you're going to be getting live feedback on your phone or your iPad as you're bowling? And it's to be put in every bowling center in the world. That's why we have our distributors here today. Got them excited about the product. And it's a desktop app for coaches, which are going to provide more data for coaches. We need information because we need verification. When this gets out to the field and coaches can learn and become more competent, they're going to get their bowlers better, faster, and they're going to understand the game at a much higher level. So that's what the screen is going to look for. It's a simple live session screen for smartphones and tablets. Now the bowler's model is going to have a little bit less information versus the coaches. The coaches are going to have more categories to look at than they know what to do with. Okay, and it's also going to feature for the bowler something called deep practice. Now you're starting to hear this term more. This term really comes from a book called The Talent Code. Now I ran across this, I think Rick introduced me to it, but in my research, Chris asked me a year ago, he says, why do you think we're doing so well in this particular market? Why do you think we continue to grow and get busy? And I said, to be honest with you, I think we're the best at getting to the root cause faster and getting people to be better faster and getting them to understand their game. I think we do that amazingly. All right? Well, that's what Deep Practice was written by a guy that said, how come there's all these people that are doing so well in these locations when it comes to playing a violin, playing the piano, playing tennis? And he found out that they practice all the same way. They do it slowly and meticulously, and they focus on different components. It's called, Rick, help me out.
Chunking.
It's called chunking. It's called focusing on a chunk. So, how many of you had students, they had a lesson, and then they kind of dabbled in what you were trying to get them to do, and then they just practiced all over the place? Dave, does that happen? All the time. And what happens is, when bowlers don't know how to focus on what they're doing, they get frustrated because they don't get better. There's a mode here called Deep Practice, which allows you to pull in on the screen on exactly what you're trying to perfect, and it gives you live data in real time. So if they're working on their target line, their launch angle, for example, it's only going to pull up the launch angle, and it's going to give you measurements in real time only on launch angle. So what's connected to launch angle? Arm swing, body position, alignment. You're going to be working on your alignment and your body position so that your launch angle gets better. And that's the only thing you're going to work on. And that bowler doesn't need a coach standing behind them to do it, because they're going to have it on their phone, they're going to have it on their tablet. So there, you can actually take this when it's on the computer. You can turn around 360 degrees to 3D. How about that? Talk about a different perspective. So you're also going to be able to put it on your, what do you call it, the iWatch, and your phone. You sit it there, and you're going to get live data, shot for shot, and you don't need me standing behind you verifying whether or not you're doing it. You're getting that information. So you imagine how much fun it's going to be for bowlers to challenge themselves, and they can do it on their own, and it's going to be an app that actually downloads. And so the coaching app, which you can see up there on the board, has a lot more categories. Now there's some really exciting stuff in this. The first thing, it's all the data. So I'm a data guy. I really like to dive into stuff, and I really like to hone into some things and get some verification. So I've got more things that I can possibly measure. If you look back here on this board right here, see if this works, it actually gives you skid, hook, roll on every shot. So coaches, as you know, what's one of the hardest things to teach in bowling? Understanding ball motion. But if you're going to score today at a competition, you have to understand it. It's the hardest thing to teach, especially if you're not a visual person. Now on every shot, you've got blue, red, and green if the ball gets into the roll, and where it actually happened, how far the skid phase was, what the launch angle was, how long the hook phase was, and if it got into the roll, and where it started and where it ended. You're also going to get deflection off the pin deck. Because remember, this takes it 360 degrees. You're actually going to see the path of the ball and understand deflection as the ball is going off the pin deck. Understanding deflection so that when they wrap 10, they'll learn when they wrap 10, or they left a 4 pin or a 4-9 or a below or 7-10. So the ability to teach faster and get them to understand and keep them excited so that they'll practice more and get better faster and enjoy the game is right here. We've also used Specto and the Weber Cup. We've already done this. This is hopefully, and the goal is to make bowling on television a different experience for the viewer. And you're going to be getting live data. This is an example of what the screen looked like. And as you guys know, one of the hardest things to do is explain to a new bowler or the average person how much better the best players in the world are versus a guy that's bowling on a house shot. And you can see here, when he was playing with the first ball he pulled out versus his new ball, the angle change, where the ball broke, the difference in hook angle, the fact that where the ball got out to, how it's shaped. Look at the difference in the roll phase. Look how much longer this roll phase is versus this one. Can you imagine how much you're going to shorten the learning curve when it comes to actual ball reaction? And again, I believe we're going to create a new future with this. There's going to be a new language. There's going to be a Specto language because we're going to have games. We're going to have ranges for bowlers. Like, we're going to be collecting so much data. Let's say in 3 years, there's 300 bowling centers that have Specto, and we have all the information from the best players in the world, Team USA, the best college players, and we're going to have ranking in all the different skill levels, and you're going to be able to compare yourself to the players in all of those categories. And it's going to be real, and it's not going to be a guess. So if you want to know what the best 5 college players in the world are at this level in launch angle, ball speed, break point range, loft. We now can measure loft. 30 years ago, loft was bad. Today, when you get in front of the ball return, the best players in college can average 230 throwing it past the arrows. It's a skill you have to develop. Right? So now you can teach loft, and you get real feedback on whether they're lofting a foot or 2 foot or 3 foot, and they can learn how to be consistent. So check this out. Parker shoots 189 and Gesper shoots 245. Look how much more consistent the guy with 21 miles an hour, 600 RPMs is versus the guy that's quote unquote a stroker. You talk about dangerous. And that's real, and that's measurable, and that's graphic. And they can talk about it and you can understand it. Pretty cool stuff. I cannot wait. We have it right now. The second product is, this has been sticking up on lane 12 for a long time. I know Coach Rick has used it quite a bit. This is called the Torch. It's an LED light. It's so simple. I have to tell you the story actually. You know, it's hard for Chris to get, I told him this earlier, it's hard for Chris to get excited about the training center. I've been pumping him up and pumping him up. And finally, the last couple of years, he's been really excited about what we're doing here. And I get a phone call, he's in Nashville, I get a phone call, he sends me this picture of this lane light. He goes, man, you have to see this. And I really had never heard him this excited about the training center before. And I'm like, so he sends me this, but it was really kind of hard to understand. And of course, he was talking 100 miles an hour. But the thing that I took away from it was I'd never heard him that excited about a product and talking about coaching and the ability to, what this would do for the excitement of people trying to learn how to bowl. And so we finally got it here, and Alexander's down there getting ready to demonstrate it, and all of a sudden we put it on the lane, and I got in front of it, and all of a sudden the light bulb went off in my head, literally. The hardest thing to teach is angles, because the lane is going north and south. And we don't bowl north and south anymore. We bowl east and west. And if you're not a visual person, you don't understand the angle that you're playing. Well, this gives you instant feedback. No matter where you stand on the approach, the angle changes, and you can see it. And now it's going to straighten out your arm swing. The number one thing our coaches work here, 95% of the people that come here, is the ball's behind their back. They have to reroute it with their shoulder. The ball's pretty far away from their ankle. They can't keep their elbow in because of bad alignment. This fixes that. The amount of people that take a lesson and they use the torch, how much difference do you see when they improve, Rick?
A lot of tables get vastly improved almost instantly.
Almost instantly. It totally changes their perspective on the lane. As you can see here, the angle changes. And it's just a characteristic of light. Okay? Now, down also on lane 12, you can see some lasers. All right? This is going to be something that you can buy. It's not available right now. But those two angles are one's at 4 degrees and one's at 6 degrees. Again, showing people what the bowling ball actually does and getting them to understand that you're creating angle on the back end and understanding shapes. That is the hardest thing. We have a lot of great coaches in this room. That's the hardest thing to teach. And if they can learn ball reaction sooner, they can make adjustments faster and not get lost on the lanes. That's the thing that makes this so exciting for me, because I believe people are going to stay in the game more, they're going to practice more, because they're going to get better. Okay? Okay, so what we're going to show you now, you thought that was cool. Wait till you see this. This is Coach Alex down here. We just hired him from Russia. And he's been working with a device. You can see him walking around doing all kinds of crazy things with his hands. What you're going to see right now is what he is seeing. There you go. Now, one of the most important aspects of teaching, folks, is having the player get instant feedback. As I told you, the number one thing that we work on at the KTC Training Center, with 95% of the people that walk in the door, is getting the swing on plane. What you have here is two planes. And what he can do with those on is he can actually get his body and his head in the proper position, and it gives him a visual so that his hand and his arm move up and down the target line. The other thing that it does is if his head moves left or right, his body is going to move out of that grid, out of that plane. Now, some of you know the saying that feel and real are two different things. That's what coaches and that's what players fight. This immediately gives him instant feedback to straighten out his swing and keep his head in the proper position. Here's another angle. Playing inside, and he's got it lined up with torch. There you can see it. Pretty cool, huh? All right. So the next thing you're going to see is we've actually laid the oil pattern down on the lane. Wow.
Big bowling.
Yeah.
Maybe visible. Look at that.
So, again, another difficult part of our sport is to get them to understand a low pattern, to get people to understand low pattern. If bowlers are not certain, they will not throw the ball confidently. And understanding the shape of the pattern, the length of the pattern, where the loads are. Again, if you're visual, that really helps you in bowling. Most of the people I work with, they're not visual. So now we've taken this device and laid that oil pattern on the lane, and you can actually see how it's laid out. Real length, real scale. So you can see the darker blue right there. Chances are we're going to be starting on that pattern, right on that grid. This is really cool. You have what he's looking at now is he has a bowler that's doing a 3.5 step drill. This is Stuart Stenton, one of our graduates at Weber. Rhythm, tempo, timing. What the bowler is seeing Stuart do this drill. The fact that they're getting feedback as he's doing it makes it much easier for the bowler to pick up the correct rhythm, not only with his hand and his arm, but also the steps. So he's looking at, you're seeing what he's looking at right here. And immediately, it's like watching a dancer. Immediately, his brain is getting feedback, and he's going to learn the task and the skill much faster. You know how you video something, you have to come back to the machine, you have to watch it, you have to go through a description. Right now, he's practicing it as he's watching it. I saw a stick of ballerina on the table one day, and it was just spinning on the table. What are we doing now? Woo! Right there. Give Alex a hand. So as you can see, I think this is gonna inject new energy into the coaching world. I think it's going to, as John would say, as we learn more things and as we have more verifiable data, it's going to open new pathways to curiosity. And the better coaches that we can become, and the better experience that new bowlers can have, we can move them along that chain so that they stay in the game a little bit longer, and then hopefully get hooked to the game, become lifelong customers. I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. I really do. thank you for being a very part of a special evening. And now we're going to be doing some demonstrations down the lane, and we have some great bowlers to be able to do that. So we're going to be on 11, 12, 9, 10, 7, 8, 5, and 6. So I know some of you have brought your equipment too, but first thing we're going to do is Ramon and Verity and Christus. They're all going to be demonstrating the products. You're more than welcome to come down there. Plus, everybody needs to get the picture taken, please, over there. We've got our photographers over there, right in front of that screen. We really appreciate it. And make yourself at home and go on down there and enjoy the experience.
Come on down.
Thank you very much.
I thought you were going to go up there and catch that shot.
Bill.